Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my series on mountaineering equipment, as well as going over some of the gear that I'm assembling specifically for my upcoming expedition to Aconcagua, which is the tallest mountain outside of the Himalaya. I'll be joining an organization called Veterans Adventure Group. On this expedition, they're a fantastic organization. I just want to start today by telling you all that I apologize that this is filmed through a toaster. I'm just using my iPhone for this, and I'm really not trying to become some type of content creator by any stretch. I have no aspirations to do that. I really enjoy my day job for the most part, and I definitely respect content creators, and it seems like a lot of work. It's a lot of work for me to put some of these videos out there. But I'm just personally very interested in mountaineering. I've loved the process of learning mountaineering, but I just remember going through the process of learning everything I needed to know, how to get the gear, what type of gear I needed, and through that I had to do things like watch YouTube videos, read articles, read gear lists of different companies and organizations, and that just took a lot of sourcing of information and putting a lot of stuff together. So I thought I'd make my own series on the gears that I put together and what I prioritized in order to go from climbing places in the White Mountains in New Hampshire, like Mount Washington, all in the winter, to the Pacific Northwest, doing some climbs out there, to now stepping my foot into more high altitude mountaineering like Aconcagua, and hopefully in 2027 Denali. If you find this series helpful, please continue to follow and check out the videos. But if not, totally okay. Not every video is going to be for everyone. I think that's totally fine. So I think that I'm going to go over sleeping bags and general sleeping systems. But a sleeping system essentially is everything that's included, which includes like a sleeping mat, as well as your sleeping pad, down booties, which I will talk about down booties, and I'll show you my down booties because I think I actually use a unique system. But I'm going to primarily focus on sleeping bags. Most guiding companies kind of have a tier system, and depending on the climb and the year and when you're doing the climb. So they'll recommend sort of that 15 degree to 20 degree bag. Then they'll recommend a sort of 0 degree, maybe even a 5 degree or a -5 degree bag, sort of that range. And then they'll have their like cold weather, big expedition, super warm bag, which is sort of in that -25 and below category. So I'll just show you, well, that's, I think, really good piece of advice. And if you have the ability to get all three of those products, that is certainly a well-recognized option, and something that I think will work and definitely be effective and get you right where you need to go. But I also, don't like spending money unless I absolutely have to, particularly on high cost gear items. And sleeping bags are, any way you slice it, a high cost gear item, unfortunately. So I only own 2 sleeping bags. The first one is a 15 degree sleeping bag. This is the Nemo, I think it's the Nemo Disco. It has these, I'm not, there are some gear items that I will do specific reviews on, but I'll just give you sort of, if I like it or if I don't like it. I have put this through the ringer. It has been a very effective bag. I always need a long bag because I stand at like 6'4". It does have this little like flap that you can tuck in and, kind of cinch into your face. It also has these zips. I think the zips they might be for ventilation, but I believe they're to like make the bag tighter, so that if you're like smaller shouldered, because I'm large shouldered, I tend to leave them open, but I think that these are fairly thin, so it actually makes the bag warmer if you zip everything up. The thing about a 15 degree bag is obviously math. For Marines, it's not a 0 degree bag, so it's not as warm. But I have found that I have been able to adequately keep myself warm where everybody else had a 0 degree bag by combining things like my down jacket. And particularly if I'm really worried about it, I'll actually incorporate, puffy pants to this system as well. Some people strongly believe within mountaineering or backpacking, particularly backpacking and camping, that you should be able to sleep naked and that's going to maximize the effectiveness of the bag. I don't know if that's true or not true, but I will say that in my own personal experience, incorporating clothing on top of my sleeping bag, within my sleeping bag, is really effective, and it's very comfortable. And I like to buy clothes for my mountaineering that I like to wear. So for example, I love to wear merino wool. I love having it on my skin, and I don't mind wearing my merino, fleece zip up jacket type of thing on in the sleeping bag if that's something that I feel like it's a little chilly out. And I love wearing my merino long johns. I also incorporate down booties almost always. It would have to be a fairly warm trip for me not to bring down booties and not to wear down booties in my sleeping bag. So I look at down booties as part of my sleeping kit. I do want to highlight these down booties. They are just an Amazon down booty. They cost like $25 when I got them. And one thing that some people have bulkier down booties, some of them have like a tread on the bottom so you can walk on snow. That's totally fine. Supposedly the tread is designed in a way of like a soft shell sort of slick material that you can like brush the snow off and it doesn't carry a lot of water. I just don't know if you're ever going to be able to get rid of or not have snow stick to or bring snow into your sleeping bag. And you do a lot of things by wearing sweaty or wet clothes that you actually have to dry anyway, like socks in your sleeping bag overnight, with incorporating a down booty system. So what I like to do is I wear these Rab down booties, and they're like a low top down booty, and they have like that slick bottom. I can wear these in these, and they work really well. They're very effective, and it kind of makes that sort of like higher end down booty. So it like adds both warmths, and together they don't weigh much more than a typical really bulky, nice, robust down booty. So that's something that if I don't think I really want to bring the extra weight, I can just drop this and only bring the down booty. If it's going to be particularly warm, like, really only need a 20 to 30 degree sleeping bag, and I don't want to buy a 20 to 30 degree sleeping bag, I'll bring my 15, not bring my down booties, and just leave the bag sort of ventilated or open, and just work from there. You're not really, it's nice to try and get the goal of being comfortable, and there's definitely added advantages for recovering, but I think if you're mountaineering, you're going to be slightly uncomfortable all the time. That's part of mountaineering. It comes with the territory. Now, again, I know I only had one sleeping bag, and that's because I didn't want to buy a second sleeping bag, but I did need a sleeping bag for Aconcagua, and that's primarily what this video series to talk about me talking about the gear that I'm putting together for my Aconcagua expedition. So I spent a fair amount of money on this product. This is the Phantom series. This is a minus 40 degree sleeping bag. It is really nice. There's tons of reviews out there on it. I actually haven't worn it yet or used it yet. It actually still has the tags on it. I just realized that. I will say this is a super high quality, nice product. You can definitely tell when you buy really high quality products that it's really nice. And I think it's, I'm not really worried about it being too, performing at its optimal level. I think it's certainly going to perform really well. I will, just say that I think that some people within expeditions like Aconcagua or even Denali, the general recommendation is like a minus 25 degree bag. But I've heard different things of minus 25. I've also heard it gets even colder and you're going to have to wear layering system within the bag. I spent a lot of money on this and I got it for a discount like I always do. But at the same time, like I just wanted to guarantee myself in the tent to be warm. And in my opinion, I don't think there's much of a difference between the weight of a minus 25 and the weight of a minus 40 and even the volume. I have seen a minus 25 degree bag in the field and they're big. They're about as big as this. There may be a little bit difference. And being a bigger guy anyway and needing a long one, I was going to need a big bag. So that's why I justify buying a minus 40 bag. And I know I'm going to be warm. And so I take solace in that reality. I will also say that there are several different options that you can pursue for not jumping to this price point. There's tons of gear out there. There's also tons of, minus 40 or minus 25 bags that constantly go on discount. So you should scour the internet and definitely look for that. That would be my advice. I had a friend that bought a minus 40 degree bag. It was a normal bag off of eBay for and it was a great brand new bag with the tags on it for like $300. So, kudos if you can definitely find something like that. This was significantly more than $300, but I thought it was a great product and something that I think is going to definitely pay off in terms of the investment. My brother actually, who's the person I talk about a lot because he's my primary climbing partner, he was trying to figure out how he was going to build a adequate minus 25 to minus 40 sleeping system. And what he's opting for is a 0-degree synthetic sleeping bag, and that he already had because he uses it for hunting and overnight camping trips for like fishing, things like that, with a 30 or 20-degree quilt that he got on eBay. And it's a pretty nice quilt. It's a down quilt. And we found a scale online that basically takes, when you combine a quilt with a sleeping bag, what is the total net warmth value? And what we factored in was like a 30-degree quilt equaled plus a 0-degree sleeping bag equaled like -40. So we kind of did the math. I think the downside is obviously it could potentially be a little bit bulkier, but he can buy a stuff sack and that he can compress quite a bit, that get it down and manageable. And if you're on Denali specifically, you can, you're utilizing a sled and you have a 100-liter pack anyway, so space isn't really that much of a problem. You just have to be strategic. Probably the biggest downside, he's going to have more to fiddle with in getting his sleeping system squared away, versus I just have to lay this out on top of my air pad and my mat and just get in it and I'm good to go. So definitely some pros. I also use a pillow, like a big, nice blow-up pillow that is really nice, I think, from Trekology. I think there's tons of pillows. That's really personal, and I would definitely recommend you try a couple. But I know that like buying like 6 different pillows is really not realistic for most people. They're just going to pick one, maybe 2, or use one and then determine this is not the pillow for me. But that's just what I would recommend, is look at some different reviews and look and see which ones you think would work the best and based on your needs. If you're a side sleeper or a back sleeper, I don't think there's a wrong way to go on that or a right way to go. It's really on personal preference. So yeah, that's pretty much my breakdown in terms of mountaineering, sleeping bags. One day I might buy a 0-degree sleeping bag, but for now, having my system of having a 15-degree that I utilize layers to definitely boost its warmth definitely works, and then having a -40 is something that I'll be incorporating for Aconcagua and Denali. I think this is a good start for me. I definitely don't mind it, and something that I'm going to be very comfortable with, but I'll definitely report back after the expedition to give you my feedback and thoughts. So thanks again for checking us out. I will also do a final plug, or another plug, for Veterans Venture Group. If you can check out their website, they have a donation page. They're currently doing a fundraising campaign to raise money for their upcoming Aconcagua expedition that I will be joining, as well as the Denali expedition. But they are a fantastic organization. You can also follow them on Instagram to see their journey through the expedition. I'm sure I'll be featured at some point on some of those. But they basically help veterans get into the mountaineering space at very low cost. They organize unguided trips. And mountaineering is an incredibly expensive hobby to pursue, and it's something that gives us a lot more access to it. So again, can't say enough great things about the organization, and I'm thanking them for everything that they've done for me, and I'm just trying to help spread the word on it. So if you find this video helpful, definitely, hopefully you like it, and it helps you sort of start putting together your kit and your equipment to go mountaineering.